Hello friends, welcome to VFX Pipeline channel, and in this video I will show you how you can create your custom file browser with Python and Qt. So let's start with our Qt designer first, and let's just create a main window, and in that main window start with a frame, and in that frame let's just create a tree view. So here I will use the view because I'm going to use a model which is Qt widget provide a QFileSystemModel, and with that we no need to write a lot of things because that model is already pre-built. And once we'll go to the Python, then I will show you exactly what the model I'm talking about. So as you can see here, we have item views and item widgets. So if you want to create your custom items and then populate that, definitely you go with the tree widgets. But here we gonna use the pre-built model, so that's why I'm gonna use a item view, which is tree view, and then later we will just plug that model and we are good to go. So that make our life very easy. Let's just save this, put it on our desktop, file browser, UI. Let's just create main.py. So we just created a main UI file here. Let's just start our PyCharm, and in that PyCharm we see okay, main UI created. Right click, external tool, build UI. And if you don't know what I did, so this I just execute this command here. I'll just zoom it so you can see. I just go through PySide2 UICEXE and just convert the UI file to Python file, and you can see the Python is already generated. To create this file browser, I'm using Python 3 and PySide2. Okay, so let's just start with our file browser.py. This is empty right now. Let's just import few important libraries that we're going to use. Is from PySide2 import QWidget. And if you're using PyQt5 previous version, so most of the library which is available in QTGUI are actually ported inside QWidget, so that's another thing. Let's just import another from PySide2 import QTGUI. QTGUI is still available. One second, I will show you which library I'm talking about. And there's a third which I'm going to import is from PySide2 import Qt core, and all these three libraries that we're gonna need. Let's just import our UI file which is created from UI import main.py. So we just name it main, and let's just create a class first. So class and my file browser class. Okay, so in that class the first argument will be your main window that you created just now, right? And the second will be Qt widgets dot q main window, and that's what I'm talking about. If you're using PyQt4, then Q main window is actually part of Qt GUI. So now it's updated. Let's just create a init function, and in that start with super and my file browser and self initialize that self dot setup UI, and let's just create a main, and in that start with the Q app. So app equals to and still last time Q application is actually part of Qt GUI, but now it exists here. So Q application, right? So we need to create a Q application, and in that we need to call our file browser, which is my file browser, and then we need to see our file browser, and then let's just execute this. Okay, so with that we should able to see our UI that we created in Qt. Let's just run this. Okay, so now we are seeing that empty file browser, and the thing that we want to achieve is something like maybe something like for example file browser, and you see there is a browser where you can browse the file. For example, let's just go to maybe C drive, Windows, and you see all these folders, and that's what we want to create inside Qt. Okay, just a quick tip. Let's say for example if you want to go with widget, so you can create a widget here, tree widget, and there all you need to do, you need to copy this stuff. So for example, name, date modified, type name, and then date, and then type, and then size. Okay, if you create this, then just preview that, you will see something like that, much closer to the interface that Windows default provide, right? And then you can go with some OS library where you can os.list there will populate, you will get the list of all the items inside the folder, and then you can create a top item and then add the name, like pretty much everything you can actually achieve from tree widgets. So that's absolutely fine, but I don't want to go through that to create new items and after that populate that, and also like to get the file size and all. It's very messy, right? You need to write a lot of code for that, but with PySide and Qt, it's actually very easy to achieve that with very simple steps. So let's just quickly populate our this tree view with this folder, so something like that. So let's just quickly start. I will create a function for that. So populate, and in that this is my path, and later on we will add this to some sort of like file open button where user can select. So this will be no longer hard coded, but for this demonstration we will use this path. And then the model that I'm talking about, because we already have view but we need a model, so let's just create a model first, and the model will exist inside QWidgets. If you go inside QWidgets.QFileSystemModel, and that's it. This will give you everything you need for your file browser. So now how we're gonna add that? Let's just take model, and inside that model you need to set a root path, right? And in that root path you actually need to set from Qt core qdir dot, and then you need to provide root path. Okay, and then the other line that you need to write here, you need to, so right now you have a model, right now it's not visible here. If you go inside your main.py, you have this tree view that you already created. So you have tree view, but you haven't add that model to that. To add that model to the tree view, or to set that model, all you need to do is you need to call the tree view dot set model, and then the argument you will pass is the model. Let's just execute at this level and see what we have so far. So I will just add this populate function inside of my init function, so whenever I execute, this populate will execute. right? So I see that when I execute that, I see now it's populated with the drives, and I can go inside these drives and I can see the folders there. But one thing you notice, we actually have a path here, but we haven't used this. Okay, so now let's just add this path to our tree widget. So maybe tree view. So whenever we open, we actually directly open this folder, not just our main my computer. So for that, you need to go to your tree view, and there you need to set root index, and there you need to set, you take your model, and in that you need to provide that path. So with that, now when we run this file browser, you see only the path that you provided, that is populated. So with that, the thing that you can achieve is you cannot go to other drives. So you can constrain the user to forcefully see one folder, so they cannot go in other drives with that. So they can just play around with this folder. And it's very important for VFX pipeline. Sometime we need to share some folders, some project folder with other users, where they just want to see their project related file, so they don't mess around with some other project's file. So with that, you can create a browser where an artist from particular project, they can just see their files and they don't see other files. But right now what you can see here, it just it is showing the file size also, the files type also. So this all coming from this model that we see here, this QFileSystemModel. But it just like dummy, or maybe just dump. So it's not doing anything. On double click, it's not having something. Even right click, it's not there is no function with that. So you can just view the files, that's it. And also one thing that you notice, that you can't even sort this. So if you want to see all DLL files, or you can sort by type or sort by size, you can't. So it's very easy to achieve that. For that, all you need to do, you need to enable the sorting. So self dot treeview dot sort, set sort enabled, and then provide true. So with that, so now if I want to sort, now you can see that there is one functionality which is already coming here, which is like sorting. And if you go, for example, inside, and you can see everything fine and right. So now I need to add a something like a context menu or a right click menu here, and so we can open the files, or we can add some custom functionality to our file browser. The context menu is actually the right click menu. Whenever in your Windows or Linux operating system, whenever you select a folder, you right click there, and you see there are many options there where you can open, new window, and copy paste these right click options. So but here, if you want to customize that your native Windows this context menu, it's very hard, or even you can't do this. So for that, what you can do is you can create this custom menu, and here you can create your own context menu, right click menu. So for that, you can add some more functions there. So for demonstration, I will just create a new open function there. So with that, whenever I right click here, and I will see a menu on right click, and the menu name will be open, right? So let's just create a context menu. For that, I will just create a new function here, and in that function I will say the name is context menu. And the context menu, whenever we are talking about context menu, they are coming from a Q widgets, and the Q widget exists a widget called Q menu. So let's just create a menu first. So menu equals to Qt widgets and Q menu. All right. So with that, we just created an empty Q menu. Now we need to add some actions into our menu. for that we can start with a name. So let's just start with open, and this is my open menu, and then we just add menu dot add action. And in that add action, you need to provide the first argument, which is the name of the menu, that what do you want to add that. So let me just add open, just open. So we don't know its file or folder, so open will be the global. And then you need to add some function to that. So whenever someone click that, it should open it should open some, or it should trigger some function. So I don't have any function right now to open. Let's just create a div open file. So this will be open our file. For now I will just pass this, later on we will populate that, but for triggering I need to add some function. So for that, open. So now this open is actually our this menu item that we added here, add actions. So that open dot, so whenever open will trigger, it will connect to open file. And instead of pass, I will add some print, so we can see so whenever someone click on open, right click menu, it should print here, right? So for now, if you run this, still you will not see any context menu. If you see right click, there's nothing there. So we added a context menu, but we haven't added to our widget. And also we need to provide a cursor location for our menu, so from where you want to execute that. So for that you need to get a cursor, and cursor you actually get from QTGUI, and then this will provide you cursor, right? Cursor is your mouse cursor. So with that you can get the position of the cursor, and that position you need to provide into your menu. Okay, so now wherever your cursor will execute, the cursor position will pass to the menu execution, and there it will appear. Okay, still after that you will not see any context menu, because we need to add one last step here to connect this with our tree widget. So let's just go to our init function, and here let's just call self.treeView, and in that tree view all we need to do, first thing is we need to set a context menu policy, and in that context menu policy we need to provide Qt core, and Qt core have custom context menu, right? So with that we are saying, hey, we are using a custom context menu for our this widget. Let's just enable that, but still with that we need to provide the custom menu which we created here. So we created this function, but we haven't attached this function to our custom policy. So let's just again go to tree view, and in that tree view dot custom context menu requested. So whenever a custom context menu requested, that should connect to our context menu which we created, right? Let's just execute that, and now you will able to see your context menu open. We just added a open here, that's why. And if I click on open, you see here I'm clicked, it's already there. So that means your context menu are actually calling this function. And so all we need to do now to finalize our app, we need to add some file open functionality to on click. But before that, getting the file open functionality, we need to get the file path, what we call. So for example, if you see this file browser, and for example I'm here, maybe I'm here, I see this file. If I right click, if I open, I need to get a full path for this to actually do something with that. How are we gonna get that? Let's just clear this first, and first I need to get the index of my tree view. So with that I can query some of the stuff from our tree view. So that is our self dot tree view, and then this will give you your current index. Okay, but now what we're gonna do with that, we will create, let's say, a file name, and this file name will be, let's say, our model. When we created a model, make sure you create this model globally, because one thing I realized, we created this model inside a function. Usually if you just remove this, then it's fine, but you need to provide a self. So with that, it is a global model, and wherever we use model, it should be global, right? So let's just, so now it should be fine. The reason is now, so because we need to query from this model right now, so this self dot model dot, so here what we need to call, here you see there are many options available here, and what we need to call is file icon, file info, like what we need is file path. So let's just print this at this time, print file, actually it should be file path. Just put the proper naming. It's a good habit to actually put proper naming, and you need to provide an argument also here, which is your index. And now if we run the file browser, and if I see this open, and I can see that now I am able to print the full path. And if I am able to print the full path, that means I am able to do whatever I want to do with that. So for example, copy, paste, open. So let's, for this example, let me just open this. So if you want to open any file in Python with Python, not in Python, with Python, so for that you can use import OS. So with OS module you can use os dot start file, and with that you can actually start that. Oh, I actually open a lot of, let's just close all. Okay, now let's just run the file browser again, and if I open this, it should open in whatever application is set, default application set to open ini files. So for example, right click, open, it should open in Notepad, which is true, whereas ini file settings file should open in Notepad. Perfect. So now I'm able to open the files with right click, and this is end of our video. I hope you understand that. Let me just quickly recap that what we did. It's very easy. Maybe I write in very zoom mode, so you you understand it. You might be thinking that there are so much thing we did, but no, let me just zoom out this, and this is only these line of code, and out of that there are many lines which is actually not just related to that. So if you can just see, we just created these three functions, and in these three functions are the main functions which is required to create a custom file browser, where we created a we populate our tree view, and we created a model, and in that model we pass a path, which is our this path, and in that path we just add few settings, which is like set sorting. There are many others also. You can set the header size and all that. You can just follow my other tutorials, you will get that. We created a right click menu. For now we just added one open, but you can add as many as possible, and you can connect different functions with that. But for now we just created one menu which is open, and I added that open file menu with this open file function, and with that we are able to see file browser. Very easy, right? I hope you understand this video, and I will see you in my next video. See you.